Hi team, it's Hassan here again. I'm excited to talk about something with you all today that I'm really passionate about. Now let's turn our mind back to your time on the mountain. This whole experience pushed you to the brink. It tested your limits and demanded everything that you had to give, but above all, it required an unwavering belief in yourself. Now, each step, each climb was a testament to the power of belief. Belief that you could reach the summit, that you could overcome the fatigue, and that you could surpass the boundaries that you once thought were removed. And I'm sure there were many times where you had moments of doubt. Moments when the end seemed impossibly far and the path ahead too arduous. But something within you pushed you to keep going. And that's the case even if you finished or not. It was your belief, that quiet, unyielding conviction that propelled you forward. Belief in your strength, your resilience, and your ability to keep going, to do something special. And now, standing on the other side of this incredible experience, you've proven to yourself that you are capable of far more than you ever imagined. Again, even if you finished or not. Now, I want to talk about belief because it's not just a fleeting feeling. It's a powerful force that can transform your life. It has allowed you to conquer one of the most daunting physical challenges, and it can be the key to unlocking even greater things in your everyday life. Now, it might sound a little cliched, but the mountain you climbed was a metaphor for all of the obstacles and opportunities that lie ahead in your own lives. And the same belief that drove you up those steep inclines can drive you towards your loftiest goal. Now, imagine what you could achieve if you carried this powerful belief into your career, your relationships, and some of your other dreams. Now, when you expand what you believe is possible, you expand the realm of what you can achieve. Now, you become not just a person who climbed a mountain, but a person who continually pushes the boundaries of what is achievable. Now, with this as the context, I want to start off today by talking about belief, about what you believe is possible and what you don't believe is possible. Now, I want us to really explore what are some limiting beliefs that we currently hold that might be preventing us from stepping forward and doing what we're capable of. Now, I've seen this time and again. People hold themselves back in their lives because of a lack of belief, because of their limiting beliefs. And this is why this topic is so powerful. You see, without that belief in yourself and what you can do, you can't put your best foot forward in life. You wouldn't have been able to even attempt to climb that mountain. You shrink, you wither up, you don't think you're capable or worthy. And because of this, you limit yourself to opportunities in your life. Now, if you have it, it can empower you to reach heights that you never thought possible. But if you don't, it can have a devastating effect on your prospects, despite your objective skills and achievements. Now, I can provide so many examples of how belief plays out and allows us to do remarkable things. And I want to share a few of those with you here. But I want to start with one now that most of you have probably heard before. And it's the story of Roger Bannister. Now, before May the 6th, 1954, no one in human history had run the mile in less than 4 minutes. And most people believed that this was physically impossible. Now, a lot of so-called experts believed that it was beyond the capability of the human body to run the mile in such less time. Now, for many, many years, this particular belief was perceived as a fact. And during this period, a lot of athletes tried to break this barrier without any success. Roger Bannister ran the mile in 3 minutes and 59 seconds on May the 6th, 1954. And by doing so, he did not just create a world record, he also broke a false belief that existed in the minds of thousands of runners. Now, as a result, many more people broke the barrier. And now it's common. High school kids are breaking the mark. The once thought of as impossible feat was accomplished because people believed that it was possible. Let me talk about this in a different way. Now, I want to share another story about the power of belief, something that I think is going to expand your mind even more. And it gives me goosebumps every time I talk about it. And it's a story about a guy called Daniel Kish. Now, Daniel Kish was born with retinoblastoma, which is a rare form of eye cancer that left him completely blind by the age of 13 months. Now, his story is really quite amazing. As a child, Daniel somehow intuitively learned to make clicking noises with his tongue and would listen for the echo, kind of like this. And he ended up being able to figure out where things were around him because of that echo. And it was something that baffled his parents. Now, this skill is known as echolocation, and it's where sound waves are emitted and bounce back off objects, allowing the listener to perceive their surroundings through sound. It's something that bats do to perceive their position in their environment. And Daniel calls it flash sonar. And he's become so skilled at it that he's able to create an auditory map of his surroundings when he clicks, effectively seeing through sound. Now, today, as an adult, he's able to move through his surroundings with remarkable ease, and even rides bikes and hikes in mountains. Now, he sees the world despite being blind. What is most remarkable about Daniel's story is not his ability to echolocate, although I'm blown away by this story, and I'm sure you are too, but rather the mindset that underpins this ability. Now, Daniel firmly believes that he can see the world around him through echolocation. And he profoundly believes that our preconceived notions of what blind people are capable of achieving hold far more sway over their lives than we might think. Now, he says that if society were to change expectations it has about blind people and the activities that they can engage in, then those expectations would be internalized by those people, creating tangibly positive results. That they would, in essence, create self-fulfilling prophecies. In other words, he believes that low expectations for what blind people can do is the very thing that is actually limiting them. That if society changed its expectations of the capabilities of blind people, that this could lead to an overall improvement in how much blind people could see, or at least perceive, of the world around them. And Daniel uses himself as an example. He said he's never had trouble learning new skills due to a lack of vision, but instead because nobody believed that he could do it until he proved them wrong. He believes that this same principle holds true for humans in general. That if we only had higher expectations for ourselves and other people, we'd surprise everyone with how much we are truly capable of. He thinks more blind people would be able to see if more people believed it. That he's able to see because he believes that he can. Isn't that incredible? Isn't that incredible? I wanted to share that story because I think it's such a powerful illustration of what I'm talking about today. Our goal now, the big thing we want to do after climbing that mountain, is to expand what you believe is possible in your own life so that you take actions accordingly and expand what you're actually able to do. So you're not limited by things because you tell yourself that they can't be done, because so many of us are. I look at belief like a light that shines on things in front of us, and it determines what we're able to see and then where we're able to go. It opens up a pathway that determines our possible actions. And when we have a limiting belief, it actually blocks us from seeing all of our possibilities and opportunities and avenues for success. Your light is only shining on a few options and actions that it thinks you can achieve because the light is only shining on a narrow field of view. Now, as a result, you close yourself to possibilities outside this light because you can't even see them, to the opportunities that might be lying in wait, to greatness. Your field of vision is narrowed and you can't see beyond it or outside it. When we open our minds and think bigger, when we remove those limiting beliefs, we're actually able to expand our vision and our expectations of what we can achieve and what we're capable of. Now, as a result, we see more possibilities and we see options that were closed off to us before to do the things we're capable of. That's what's going to help us get to the goals that we want to achieve. Believing in yourself means having confidence in your own abilities. It means being able to trust yourself to do what you say you'll do and knowing that those efforts will result in desired outcomes. And when we believe in ourselves, it kicks into gear all sorts of psychological processes that help us achieve our goals, feel more satisfied with our lives, and increase our well-being. But the flip side is also true, right? A lack of self-confidence or lack of belief in ourselves means we're less likely to act, to change, or to push to make things better. Now, as a result, when we expect to fail, we're actually more likely to fail. And that means that believing in ourselves is kind of like the key that turns the ignition on and starts the car. We can't really go anywhere without it. Try as we might to push ourselves forward, we're blocked because our thoughts, our attitudes, and our actions aren't in alignment with our goals. We have limiting beliefs. So we either don't do what we need to do, or we sabotage ourselves along the way. Sometimes in obvious ways, and sometimes in ways that are totally unconscious to us. It's not surprising that people who feel anxiety and worry a lot in their lives tend to be less self-confident. And when you avoid putting yourself out there, when you avoid taking chances or avoid trying something, for whatever reason, right? Whether it's fear of failure or not thinking you're good enough, you deprive yourself of the confidence-building effects of small daily successes, which have natural anti-anxiety and antidepressant effects on the brain. And anxiety is something that we feel in our gut that influences the decisions that we make. We toss back and forth about whether or not we'll be able to do something. We're not sure how capable we are. Now, feelings of doubt can be so strong and compelling that they can often override rational thoughts, like us thinking that there's no reason why I can't do this, or I can do this. And if you're having doubts and feelings of uncertainty, more often than not, it becomes very difficult to move past them. And your limiting beliefs could be many things, right? It could be you thinking that you have to do everything on your own, or that you're the only one who can make decisions. Or it could be that you're dealing with feelings of inadequacy. You don't think you're competent or capable enough, that you're an imposter or not worthy, that somebody's going to tap you on the shoulder and figure out that you're not meant to be here. When you're drowning in fears, doubts, and self-sabotaging behaviors, success feels out of your grasp. Now, all of the skills, training, and tools in the world won't change your life. But here's the thing, it's human nature to experience fear and anxiety. And when you believe in yourself, you can overcome self-doubt and have the confidence to take action and get things done. And you realize that those emotions are there to encourage you to take action, not to hold you back. You're able to control your emotions, then shift your focus and turn fear into action. Let me describe this in another way, or let me put it another way. We've always thought that age is irreversible, right? That it only goes one way. We only get older. Well, I want to tell you about a study that was done by one of my professors, Ellen Langer, that'll change the way you look at the world and your own life, especially when it comes to belief. In 1979, Langer designed a week-long experiment on a group of 75-year-old men. Now, the men knew little about the nature of the experiment, except that they would be at a retreat for one whole week. So these men, they were stripped of all of their modern possessions, and when they arrived at the retreat, they were gathered into a room and were told that they were going to be transported back to their younger days, back to when they were 55 years old. That the retreat was a time capsule designed to transport them back to the 1950s. And they were instructed to dress, talk, and act as if it were the year 1959. Now, each man received an ID badge with a photo from their mid-50s to reinforce the scenario. And they were told to pretend as though they were 55. Now, throughout the week, the men participated in activities that reinforced the illusion of being younger. They played games, they reminisced about the past, and fully engaged in the 1959 lifestyle. They were instructed to talk about the president at the time and other events in their lives that had happened back then. Some even began speaking about their old jobs in the present tense, as if retirement were a distant concept. There were magazines and newspapers from those days that were displayed on the coffee tables. Now, in short, everything was designed to make them see the world through the lens of being 55. Now, Langer is regarded as a little bit of a maverick in the psychology and science field. She's done some incredible work over the years, and she had a radical hypothesis. She wanted to prove that our mental construction has a direct influence on the physical aging process. That basically, how we mentally construct our reality, the way we conceive of ourselves, could directly influence our age. Now, she was arguing that by moving the spotlight of these 75-year-old men, she could shift their mental framework and consequently their physical state. That they could change their objective reality of their age. And do you know what? This is exactly what happened. The results were astonishing. Prior to the retreat, the men underwent a series of tests measuring everything from physical strength to posture, perception, recognition, cognition, short-term memory. After the retreat, most of the men had shown remarkable improvements in nearly every category. They were more flexible, they had better posture, they displayed significantly enhanced hand strength, their eyesight got better, their average eyesight improved by almost 10%, and their memory and cognitive functions saw notable gains. In more than half of the men, intelligence levels, previously thought to be fixed, increased as well. What is absolutely astounding is even their physical appearance changed. These people got taller, their height changed, they literally became bigger. That's unbelievable. Their hands got bigger as well. Independent random people who weren't told anything about the experiment were asked to estimate the men's ages based on photographs taken before and after the retreat. On average, they judged the men to be years younger when they had arrived. This is incredible, right? This experiment turned conventional wisdom on its head. And what it showed is that our external reality is far more malleable than we often believe, and that it's heavily influenced by our perceptions. With the right mindset, we can significantly alter our reality and who we're able to become, by what we're able to achieve. And this work demonstrated that time, often seen as a relentless forward march, could be reimagined. By changing the lens through which we view our lives, by moving the spotlight, our belief about who we are and what we are, we can reshape our physical and mental states. And that's what happened to these men. We hold the power to shape and bend reality. And this study not only challenged the scientific community's understanding of aging, but it also offers a profound insight into the human mind's potential to shape reality. I want you to really think about this. These people had their spotlight of belief expanded and something amazing happened. So, what can we do with some of this perspective? And there are a number of strategies to bring all of this to life, to implement into our own lives, about how we go about growing our belief. But I want to begin with something really simple. I want to focus on a simple goal to start with, and that is to just start off by thinking bigger. To pinpoint where you're thinking small, where your limitations are coming from, and then challenge them. Push those boundaries away, or expand them in really meaningful ways. Right, let's challenge those beliefs, right? Let's question them. Let's rip them apart. So what we're going to do, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to think about this. And I'd like you to really explore and think about where in your life are you limiting your results by believing more is not possible. So think about and write down one primary aspiration where you're dimming the light of possibility. Where the way you're actually thinking is actually limiting what you're able to do. Now, I want us to think about how big we can go. Maybe you feel like you don't have the respect to get things done. Maybe you feel like you don't have the team around you. And maybe you're too young, not experienced or educated enough. Where are you limiting yourself? Okay? So take some time and have a think about this. Pause the video if you have to write a few things down. Okay, so now what I want you to do is when you think about some of your goals, what's the really big thing you want to do? Your big goal over the next year or so. Maybe you're writing a book. Maybe you want to start a new company. Maybe you're training for an ultra marathon. Whatever it is. What would it look like if you were to 5x it or 10x it? And imagine that. What would it look like to 10x or even 100x your goal? Think bigger than what you previously thought was ever possible. So for example, instead of just writing a book, 10xing that goal might mean that the book is a New York Times bestseller and you're the most in-demand speaker on the speaking circuit. Okay, now I want you to write down and think about whether there's a reason why these big goals are inherently less achievable, or do they simply require a different approach? Maybe you're doing things in a way that just simply won't get you to where you want to get to. Maybe you need a different approach or process. What are the specific steps you would need to take to actually bring these bigger goals to life? So for example, your approach to becoming a New York Times bestseller will be wildly different to your approach of just finishing and publishing a book. Maybe it requires a different agent, a different publisher, a writing and speaking coach. So after you think about this, I want you to write down 3 differences in your approach that emerge when you 10x your goal size. Now, the reason why I love doing this as an exercise is because we're exploring our own minds and what we think we're capable of. We're forced to shine a light on some of our own insecurities and really challenge them, which will really help us in the long run. And if we're able to expand our thinking and change what we believe to be possible, we can significantly alter our reality and what we're able to achieve. And this is when we start to do incredible things. We start to live up to our potential. Right, I hope you found all of this interesting. Even more than that, I hope this video can in some way change the way you approach your life. Now, we're going to be capturing some of the results and answers from this exercise, but please reach out if you'd like some help in making those big goals a reality. We'd love to be able to help you climb some of your bigger mountains. I'll see you all soon.